Hello everybody. Nice to meet you all and welcome to our digital study hall. I'm delighted to have you here with us today for our first session. So I will go straight into introducing myself and my amazing colleague Valeria. So it will be the both of us today hosting this session, presenting everything and talking you through everything we have here. So maybe before we start into this, I'll let my colleague Valeria introduce herself a little bit.
Sure. Thanks, Leah. It's an honor and a privilege to be here for the Digital Study Hall sessions. My name is Valeria. I'm part of the enablement team and joined Active Campaign a little bit more than 1 year ago. And I'm essentially behind the one-to-one calls. So at this stage, I've collected hundreds of calls, and I'm very excited to bring my expertise today, the Digital Study Hall, and I'm really looking forward to transmitting my knowledge and my passion for Active Campaign. So thank you all for being here with us.
Thanks, Valeria. I'm so happy to be presenting with Valeria. You'll see she's amazing and she has a lot of expertise to share with you guys. So yeah, we both have spent countless of hours talking with our customers from the UK to Italy, Netherlands, Spain, France, so many countries. Let us know, guys, where are you from? Which country are you from? And yeah, it'd be great to know how diverse we are today. So similarly to Valeria, my name is Leah. I help customers as well. I've joined ActiveCampaign about a bit less than a year ago, and I help our customers set up the platform and optimize all the tools they have available to create an amazing customer experience for their clients. So we'll make sure today to help you guys bring your own business to the next level. So hopefully we'll do a good job at that. So we also have a great moderator. We have Gilda. She's got a lot of expertise as well. So any questions you have, she'll be happy to help you and answer your questions. Okay. So maybe I'll start by giving you kind of an idea of the 3 sessions, because so this digital study halls is 3 sessions. So we have lots of content for you. So for session 1 today, we'll be talking about how to put together a good strategy for your customer experience and how to map this customer experience using contact management. So we'll be talking about segmentation, which is a very important kind of pillar in ActiveCampaign, and we'll be talking strategy today. Session 2 next week will be more concrete, real. We'll go more demoing in the platform. We'll be talking about how to literally grow your business using all the tools you have, how to nurture, educate, and convert your contacts using automations, personalizing all this outreach and all this communication with your contacts. And then session 3 will go more in depth into the CRM part in ActiveCampaign and all the reporting tools, getting to know your customers. To know your customers, you need to be able to visualize what's happening and be able to report on your results. So not to worry, we'll dive in each of those topics more in depth. Those sessions are really meant to be interactive. So we will be demoing things inside the platform every day. Today we'll be doing a bit of demoing in the middle of, at the end of all this strategy we'll be talking about. That is also very important to get started. We will also be giving you action items for you to do in your ActiveCampaign account between each session, and you have activities in your workbook and handbook to help you put all of this in place after the session. So that's everything we will give you guys, but we also have expectations from you. So the first one is very important. It's that this is a very interactive session, and the first expectation we have from you is that you guys are engaged. So You receive an invite in your emails to join the Slack channel. Please sign up if you haven't done so yet. And as much as possible, post your questions for us to address in our private digital study hall Slack group. This includes anything related to the content we're covering or questions you want Valeria and I to be answering during our Q&A sections. And also any questions you have as we're going through things and you want Gilda to answer for you. What is great with Slack is that by using Slack to post your questions instead of Zoom, Gilda is going to be able to respond directly to you, and you have their response permanently threaded in there, so you can view them repeatedly even after the session today. Gilda sent you links, you want to have a look again in 2 days, you can go back in there and have access to those links. You can still post questions in Zoom, but all the Q&A and everything happens in Slack, so make sure to post your questions in there. We'll also make sure to drop a Slack registration in the Zoom chat, just if you need to finish registration. And then once you join the Active Campaign Community Slack, send a message say you're there. The second one is also to use your account. So make sure to use your account and build things up in between sessions. We're going to apply several activities to help you better use Active Campaign, and we look at this activity through the lens of 3 different real Active Campaign customers. We'll look at that together later on today, but these activities are part of your digital study hall workbook, so that we'll be sharing in just a moment. So have a look at this and make sure to just use your account and do all those things in your account, just so that you don't forget. You have this in there as soon as you learn the new things. Also, one other important thing is that when we give you 2 minutes to look into your workbook, we'll have some of kind of off time, we'll give you 2 minutes. It's just about getting familiar with the activity, but by no means that gives you enough time to do the activity. So we understand that, no pressure, those 2 minutes won't give you time to do this. You'll have time later on. What's very important is not only to learn all of this, but to really apply it to your account every single time. So make sure to do that. You will also receive a recording of the session 24 hours after this session. So no panic about taking lots of notes from the slides. You'll be getting the recording. And the third expectations, which is also an important one, share your experience on social media. Tell other people and other businesses on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn about how you're bringing your business to the next level using the Active Campaign platform, but also with the Active Campaign study halls, how we were able to help you. Share feedback as well. You can include us in the loop. We'll be delighted to hear about what you enjoyed and how we were able to help you. And use that hashtag. We have the hashtag AC Study Hall. So use that hashtag and share feedback and share everything on social media. Looking forward to seeing that. Okay, so now that I've spoken a lot already, let's learn more about you since we're going to be together for a little while today. Okay, so we have a first kind of question to get to know you a bit more. And the first question is, thank you, that's the poll. What industry would you say you're in? Are you a B2B business? Are you a B2C business consumer? Are you a bit of mix of both? We have a lot of clients in Active Campaign who are both B2B and B2C. Are you a nonprofit or other? And tell us more in Slack. What is your company? We'll be looking today. Very interesting. So yeah, we have a lot of B2B. We have B2C as well, and a mix of both. We also have a nonprofit. Great. So today we'll be looking at, as I was saying, we'll be looking at 3 different customer stories. So we have a B2C, a B2B, and a nonprofit. So there'll be content for everybody here, for all of you guys. Great. Okay, so hold on. The next question that I'd love to know about you is, how long have you been using ActiveCampaign for? How long are you using the platform for? So we've got lots of newbies. Oh yeah, I can see a lot of newbies. That's exciting. So yeah, under a year, less than 6 months, 6 months to a year. Most of you are pretty new. And then we have some people who are over 3 years, pretty experienced. Very good, great. So a lot of newbie today and some other people a bit more experienced. That's great, that's a good balance. Okay, so the second question, the third question, and that's my favorite question, guys. What is your favorite feature in ActiveCampaign? Is it automations, campaigns, conversation? Conversation is our chat box where people can reach out with this little bubble on your website. Is it the CRM in ActiveCampaign? Segments, automations. Yes, automations are great. You can do so much with the automations in ActiveCampaign. Definitely my favorite as well. Well, one of my favorites. There's lots of great tools in there. We'll be looking at automations next week, so not to worry, we'll be covering that. Campaigns as well. We'll be definitely covering that as well. Conversations, interesting, maybe not as famous yet, but we have a chat box. And the CRM, obviously, a customer relationship management tool to track interactions with users. And then segments. I love segments. They are so handy to just look at your contacts and be able to segment them down and personalize your outreach to them based on who they are, what are their specific features, and providing compelling messaging to them. So great, thanks for sharing this. Another question, and this is the last one for now. Which topic do you struggle the most with? Is it tracking the outlets your contacts are coming from? Which channels are they coming from? Are they coming from Google, your social media? Knowing how to start and end the workflows in the automations, organizing and integrating important customer info, and sending the right message for the right audience. So there's an interesting balance as well here. Looks like these are all topics that are really important to you. Great. So there's a very, very interesting balance here. It's almost like the four of them are equally spread amongst you. Okay, so we'll be looking at all of this together, especially the one we'll be looking at today is going to be how to organize and segment your customer, your contacts and your customer info, and sending the right message for the right audience. So we'll be looking at that together and how those segments are going to help you personalize your outreach. Okay, let me close those polls. Perfect. So now here's your ActiveCampaign workbook that is going to be shared with you in just a second. So as I was saying, this workbook includes everything you need to be successful with ActiveCampaign. It contains the customer journey pre-work, all the activities we'll cover in detail over every single session, and which will also be your homework to apply to your own business from week to week. Each week of activities is created to build on the last in the most natural way possible. So we'll be going from one week to another with a little bit more thing and something a bit in a logical way. Our goals over these 3 weeks of courses are that you have a better idea of how to organize and track your success, know how to efficiently automate from the perspective of your customers, and plan towards achieving your long-term goals as well. And you'll receive this workbook in your emails tomorrow. Okay, so week one, what are we going to talk about today? And I've already kind of told you guys and covered what are going to talk about today. So today we're going to talk about successful contact management. How does it look like to successfully organize your contacts in the Active Campaign platform? And for that, we'll look at the customer experience map, which is a very, very important part of mapping your customer journey, and from that understand how you need to segment. Obviously, a great foundation for a scalable company, a scalable system, is to track your contacts and segment them to help you grow efficiently and optimize all of this data you're gathering. So today's agenda, we're not going to get bored today. We have a lot covered, and we'll look at lots of different things. So the first thing we will be looking at is answer why is it important? Why mastering your customer experience matters? What sorts of elements goes into creating customer experience? It's not enough to only email your contacts any longer. Customer experience, how your customers feel about your interaction with them, that's way more than just emailing. That's what's important. Why does it matter? We'll also give a bit of introduction and talk about CXA. So CXA, that's the first time you're hearing about it, is customer experience automation. What does that mean? That means it's not only about automating your emails, but activating your entire customer experience. Treat every customer's like your most important one, whether you have 10 or 10 million, make them feel personal, make them feel you're talking to them one-to-one, make them feel they are very valuable. Then we'll look at the customer journey, and Valeria will take you through the 5 different stages of your customer journey and how you can think through this, how to use segments to improve this customer experience. And then we'll look at contact management, and that's when we'll be looking into doing a demo. We'll be going in the platform, and we'll be looking at lists, tags, custom fields, and how to segment your contacts based on those tools. And then at the end, we'll wrap up today with a quick conversation about what will happen next week, and what you can do in between the 2 sessions. So why mastering your customer experience matters? That's a very good question. So let's have a look, and there's a few reasons. And from your customer's perspective, obviously your customer experience is literally everything. That's the only thing that they don't talk to you directly. So the experience you provide them is very important. Think about how companies such as Amazon and Netflix have completely changed the game and changed the expectations your customers have about the type of customer experience they expect from you. They completely changed the behavior and the results. So let's dive a bit more into how Netflix and Amazon have developed their customer experience. So one of the first things that customers expect these days from you is that they want a consistent communication on every interaction. Whenever I order from Amazon, I'm communicating with at every single step of the process until the item is 2 stops away from my door. And that's the kind of thoughtful journey I want, and I love it. They provide relevant information about my interests, and that's what you want to replicate to your customers. Another thing to keep in mind from a customer perspective is that inconsistent experiences are frustrating. So we'll have a heavy focus on the importance of streamlining your processes, and we'll dive into this in just a few minutes. But consistent communication at every interaction to your customers. Recently, I ordered a book from Amazon, and then they were suggesting other books to me that were relevant. And this is great. This is really what I want. It's consistent with my interests and what I enjoy. So that's a very important first key point. The second one is that, as I was saying, customers want personalized messaging at every touch point. And again, Amazon and Netflix are so good at this. As I was saying, Amazon, when you add something to your cart, at the bottom you see customers bought this, also liked. This is a personalization, that benefits me, because maybe I wouldn't know about this book, and if they weren't suggesting it to me, I wouldn't know about it and I wouldn't buy it. So that's great for me. But even further than that, it's great for them, because they could do more business based on that. I could end up buying this book and they make more money. So think about this this way for your own business. And then again, Netflix. Think about how Netflix operates. Netflix personalizes their offer to you and what you like, and on demand. Anytime I watch a movie or a TV show, Netflix suggests something aligned to what I just watched, and something based on that. So I love watching documentaries, and Netflix knows that. So they always come up with new documentaries. They suggest them on my homepage, and I love it. That's why I there's a really good customer experience when I log in there. I see all my favorite movies, TV shows, and some I don't know and I could enjoy. I end up watching documentaries I would have not watched otherwise. So that's so customers want consistent communication at every interaction. They want personalized messaging at every touch point. And they don't want to repeat themselves. Well, no one likes to repeat themselves a few times. They want to be picked up with the last conversation left off. So incorporating personalization and picking up where the last conversation left off is very important. Again, Netflix is so good at this. But every time you watch something, you stop, you go to something, they will be starting again where mid-episode where you left off. So I'm in the middle of a show, I stop mid-episode, I come back exactly at the same time, at the same place where I stop, and it makes it so easy for me to pick it up back where I was. So consistent, personalized, and what would be the word? It would be where you left the conversation. A bit thirsty. So personalization. What about you guys? What would you like to personalize more of? I'm sure you're already doing a bit of personalization. If you already are, let us know how you're already personalizing and where would you like to personalize more. In the other hand, let us know in the chat. It'd be great to see and you guys to learn from each other. Looks like 59% of customers say that personalization influences their shopping. The more you feel like they're talking to you personally, the more you're going to buy. And 74% of customers feel frustrated when website content is not personalized. And 78% of customers will only engage with offers after they receive personalized marketing from a brand. So personalization really influences behaviors. And this is why customer experience automation and personalization is not only including things like a person's name, hi, first name, in the subject lines of your emails. It's consistent experience across all different outlets, all different channels, as if you guys were talking one-to-one with your customers. And it's the entire customer lifecycle. Customers want the entire experience with you to be connected. They want to have one fluid conversation with you. They don't want an email from marketing when they need support help. They expect you to know what they need based on the purchase they've made, for example, or based on their personal preferences, information they've already given you in the past. They don't want to repeat themselves. So customer experience automation is focused on providing this consistent experience messages to the right person at the right time, as if you were writing it yourself. And this is where the Active Campaign comes into play. All the tools that you have in the platform will help you personalize across all channels you operate across. Your customers need to be connected with you across your emails, your text messages, the chat, the social media channels, the ads they see. They need to see the right ad at the right time. And the experience needs to be consistent across all these tools. And that's why personalization is something we're talking about when you're creating all your experience with ActiveCampaign. Okay, so it's already time for Q&A. I hope you're sharing lots of your questions. Don't forget to continue posting your questions for us to address in Slack. So Valeria is
yeah. I'm here. Like, I don't see any question at the moment, Leah.
Okay.
So, well, I think that Gilda made a great job. So I think that we can keep going on and speak about the customer experience introduction, okay? So let me move on and share my screen. Lovely. So here we are. Well, let's speak about the customer experience introduction and what do we mean when we say customer experience introduction. So the customer experience automation, this is like a word that for sure you will be familiar in the course of our sessions. It's like our mantra in ActiveCampaign. So what is customer experience automation? Is leverage the right person at the right time with the right message, with the right medium. So find the perfect combination of these elements to send the right message, deliver the right message to the right people. I really like the graph that is here on this slide, because this illustrates some of the foundational methodology that we believe in ActiveCampaign. So what do we believe in ActiveCampaign? Well, I can tell you that for sure we don't believe in what we call the one solution, all-in-one solution, but we believe in the stack solution. What is the difference between all-in-one solution and stack solution? So all-in-one solution, well, typically, those services that are going to tell you, we will be your marketing tool, we will be your website tool, we will be your CRM, e-commerce, calendar tool. And what tends to happen in this case is that they're pretty good at a couple of things, but not that good at many other things. And at ActiveCampaign, we are not trying to pretend something we are not. We want to be the best in customer experience automation and segmentation. So what we want you to be free to do, we want you to get the freedom to plug and play with what do you find to be the best in the breed out there. So we want you to find the elements that we don't offer and connect them. So for instance, this green bag here illustrates perfectly what I just said, because we want to give you the freedom to play and plug in with the best e-commerce out there. And what's the best e-commerce? Shopify. Definitely Shopify is like one of the most solid and robust e-commerce platform out there in the market. Is an excellent e-commerce tool, very user-friendly and a very robust solution. So there is no reason for us to build, to offer an e-commerce tool, right? Just because there is a Shopify out there. So what are we giving to you? The freedom to use Shopify and connect Shopify with ActiveCampaign through our deep data integration, which is available on the Plus plan and above if you're interested and you want to have a look at it, right? So we want to create the perfect combination. We want to give you this freedom, and that's why we believe in the stack solution. One other very important principle in the slide is the personalization. So Leah was mentioning it a lot during her presentation. I really like the idea or the customer experience automation as personalization. So treat every customer like they are your most important customer, right? It doesn't matter if you have 10 customers or 10 million customers. At the end, what it matters is that you treat each single individual as the most important one. And how do you treat each single individual as the most important one? Through segmentation. And we will be covering this topic in detail later on. The second point on the slide is make the whiteboard real. So what does it mean? Well, during the calls that I'm that I'm getting with you as customers, and based also on the experience that I built out while delivering the digital study also around Europe, back when it was possible traveling, I got lots of questions in terms of, what can I do with this platform? I got this platform. It has lots of power and can do marvelous things, but I have no idea. Like, I've had this platform for 3 months and I've used like only 10% out of it. So, well, with the make the whiteboard real, what we want to encourage, right, people who are in this kind of situation is to take a step back and be process before software. So be process before software means that you want to think about the process that you want to realize, right? So you want to really draw, like, structure a process, a funnel, a journey, and then implement the journey in your platform. So build your process out, find the holes, find what is working, and then you'll be able to implement it in a Attic campaign in the right place. And definitely we will be speaking about this in a bit. And one of the things, right, that helps the customer experience automation is site tracking. Site tracking. So what is site tracking? Let me start saying that in Attic campaign, we're all about actionable data. So we're all about things that are very easy to implement in Attic campaign. And site tracking is a piece of functionality that is super easy to implement in Attic campaign. And I would really encourage you to do it even today if you have done it yet. And you will find the instructions and the details in the workbook that we shared in the Slack channel and that you received via email. So speaking about site tracking, one of the questions that we get more often when we speak about site tracking is, what is the difference between Google Analytics and site tracking? So what they are, how do they differ? Well, Google Analytics is an excellent piece of functionality to look at the macro level pieces of data, right? So with Google Analytics, you can map out the website flow or the people who come to your website. So you're gonna get an overview about the percentage of people that are going, for instance, to the product page. Then you can see another percentage going to the cart page. And finally, a percentage purchasing the product, so going to the purchase page, right? Now, I was just mentioning before that here in Active Campaign, we're all about actionable data. So Google Analytics is great if you want to design your website, but site tracking is gonna look at the individual contact level. So we are not looking at the macro, we are looking specifically at the contact level, at the page where your contacts are going. So for instance, if we have Mary that went specifically to the blog article that talks, okay, we have a blog and we have an article that talks about how photographers use the CRM. So what does it mean about her buying cycle? Well, it probably means that she's either a photographer or she's interested in a CRM. So because of that, because of the site tracking that let us identify the pages that Mary visited, we can influence and personalize the message that we will be sending to Mary. So as I said, you can find more information in the workbook on how it works, and now you can set this up. And after speaking about site tracking, I like to dive in and explore the customer journey. So I really want to map out what your business is doing through the customer journey. Remember the process before software. So I'm pretty sure that this is going to be relatable to you. So we will take this step back and see each step of the customer journey. And as one of the first activities that I encourage you to do, and you'll find it in your workbook as well, is to map out what your business is doing step by step. And then we will go to the software and we will implement features and functionalities for each step. So let's map out the customer journey. Let's speak about the customer journey. Here you see we have this graph with the 5 phases, and we will be going through a detailed description of each phase. So let me go ahead. All right. And let's start with the very first one. So the awareness stage. So what is the awareness stage? Well, this is the very first phase of the customer journey, and is really looking at how do people first hear from you, right? So in this phase of the journey, you really want to understand how do people heard about you? How do people hear from you about your business? So if you are in a B2B business, you might be going to conferences, trade shows, and this little inflection point in here, so the white space between the awareness and consideration, well, this is gonna really this is like more like the white space where you are going to collect the information based on the way that people heard where you're from, heard about your business. So if the awareness is about how the people hear about you, about your business. So in here, we want to know how do you collect this kind of information. So if you're, I was saying, a B2B business and you're going to conferences at trade show, you might want to use an iPad app and have people to fill out a form so that you can follow up with them. If you are doing e-commerce ads, and if you're more than a transactional B2B, well, you might be doing ads that are going to Facebook, they're going on Google, LinkedIn, and the form that you have online might be living on a landing page. So it might be in an ads directory on Facebook. So this will be one of the many ways that you collect information, from your contacts. If you do lots of speeches in front of people, workshop, you might want to get a more systematic way of collecting information all at once, maybe through a text to subscriber, A text to subscriber will be a good way. So in this phase, what you really want to ask yourself, as stated in the slide, what problems do your products or service solve? How do people find out about your business, and where we can help to find a solution, So let's move now to the consideration stage. And in the consideration stage, once you have collected the information from your contact, remember, so you did the contacts find about you, what are you going to do with them now? The consideration stage now is about mutual exchange of information. So what I mean is that your contacts have some sort of problems that they want to solve, and ideally your business has the solution to their problems. So contacts are coming to your website, they are looking for a solution, and you have to offer some content to solve their problem. You also want to meet them halfway and, say, great, so you had this problem, I had the solution, and the best one out there in the market to find the solution for you. So going back to the example of Mary that I was suggesting before, she's looking at the page of our blog that speaks about CRM for photographers. So we know definitely that we should not talk to Mary about email and segmentation. We should personalize and influence the message speaking about the CRM, So we should personalize our email, advertise, and sales talks on that specific topic. Now, the inflection point between consideration and decision, that's like a tough one to define, because typically businesses have a period of time that we can call education cycle, and then after the education cycle, there is the buying cycle. So in the education cycle, typically leads are coming to your way, and they don't quite get it, why you are the best solution to their problem, to the problem they have, and why you are the best out there to give them the solution. So they don't understand how your product works, how the service works. And you can ask them to buy and pay, but obviously you need to wait for them to be ready. So you need to wait for them to be in the right place to get it. So how do you know when someone is in the buying cycle, Which is obviously our decision phase in the graph and the customer journey. So how do you know when someone is in the buying cycle? Well, again, bring in some examples. If you're in a B2B company or a relation-based company, you send emails, right? You probably do a heavy use of phone, and the inflection point, right, between the consideration and the decision could be when your contacts are scheduling a call. So something really in terms of action from your contacts that shows the engagement on the one-to-one level. If you are more on a transactional business, well, that inflection point is some sort of engagement, like maybe viewing your blog articles, downloading videos. Maybe you have how-to videos and the amount of blog articles they read, they view. So this could be the triggering point to get them into the decisions, right? So once they are ready to buy, they are in the buying cycle, they are in this decision phase. And what are you going to do now? If you are in a transactional business, you probably want to change the call of action. So your emails, instead of saying, please watch the video, they will say, please buy, right? In relationship business, you use automations to cultivate messages. You could use CRM to automate the tasks that somebody should be accomplishing to move deal forwards. So different ways on going through the, on accomplishing that and going through the decision phase. And it's now time to move to the fourth stage, which is the growth. So in the growth stage, we obviously focus on existing customers. So I want to break it down again, like before, according to different kind of businesses, right? So if you are in a business with recurring revenue and you charge your customers every quarter, every month, every year, there is a specific word that we don't want to hear, not even an active campaign, right? Which is churn. We don't want customers churn. So we don't want people to cancel. How do we keep people use our product services and see the value out of it? Well, you can track the number of emails people are opening. You can track the website visits through the site tracking that I was mentioning before. You can cultivate a very personal messaging path with these people, right? To nurture them and to let them see the value out of your product. You can personalize message, cross-sell, upsell. So all of these are very important elements in whether you are a B2B or a B2C, a transactional or a relationship business. If you're, for instance, selling active campaign, like in our case, so maybe you identify like as a sales rep if the plus plan is going to help the business of our customers. So well, if they need a CRM, then obviously upselling a plus plan could be a great idea. So regardless of the business where you are, still you want to be able to create good experiences and create customers that will be advocates, right, of your brand. And this will bring us to the next stage. Now, just let me say that if you're in a business that is truly like a one-time sell, so with no ability to cross-sell, upsell, that's okay, that's still fine. You still want to create new experiences and make sure that people see the value. You can identify the VB customers that you want to be able to identify as advocates for your brand. And this brings us to the next stage, which is the advocacy stage. The advocacy stage in the customer face journey is quite often the most forgotten step in marketing, although it's like one of the most important ones. As company here in Active Campaign, we obviously go to trade shows, conferences, that's for sure. However, a large component of our marketing strategy is the word of mouth. So the word of mouth is such a powerful force that you can leverage to empower your business. In a tangible way, in this kind of phase, I see like two paths, right? One that is more formal through referral program, like please refer me this amount of business and I will give you this incentive. In a less formal way, definitely I see the well, the path of directing, right, your contacts, your customers to push people to review online. So if you do review sites, for instance, I would suggest a site that really push the contacts. So your contacts in the awareness stage that we were just covering before, the awareness stage. Remember the very first one phase of the customer journey. So this part will be more informal. And for Active Campaign, for instance, we mainly push people to G2.com, which is a great website that compare different softwares together. So definitely, if you want to have a look at that, is a very, very good way to push your contacts and review, right, online your website, your service, or just for yourself to do a nice comparisons about the softwares out there. So a great, great way to push contacts directly in the awareness stage. Right, so we covered like the theory about the customer journey. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to Leah now, who is going to dive into, well, a more practical examples of how the customer journeys are applied to real business cases. So Leah, I'm passing it to you if you want to go ahead.
Hey, yes, for sure. All right, let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. So as Valeria was saying, let's dive into in a bit more kind of apply all the theory, everything Valeria is explained into this. I hope you guys are still following. I see there's lots of you from lots of different countries. Yeah, I hope you guys are still following. Any questions on anything, please feel free to ask. So yeah, we are going to look at this customer experience map through the lens of 3 different customers. So before we dive into each of those customer story, I just want to talk about how you can use and take this theory for yourself, and how you can take this theory and map it to your business. So the goal of the customer experience map activity that you have is for you to consider all the touch points that you have with your own customers along the different phases of the customer journey that Valeria just explained. All the touch points that you have from awareness to consideration, decision stage, growth, and advocacy. And putting this on paper, just going through this on paper and drafting everything will allow you to visualize the different ways you can efficiently move your contacts from one point to another. So that's exactly what we're going to do with our customer stories. We're going to take them separately and look at how do they use those different stages, and what do they do in those different stages to leverage their touch points, and how they bring their contact from one stage to another. So let's start with our first one. Our first one is called Maro Audio. So Maro Audio is an Active Campaign customer user. So all the 3 stories we're going to talk about are real companies, and real companies are using Active Campaign. So Maro Audio is a US-based company. They sell very high-end audio cables, equipment manufacturers for cables for your audio, for your speakers, and so on. It's very high-quality cables for professional musicians and such. They use an e-commerce platform, as Valeria was talking about. Shopify. They use Shopify. And you'll see here from Maro Audio, we've completed an example of the full customer experience activity. Each of the stages of the customer journey are represented at the top. An example of the touch points Maro Audio has during each phase are represented at the bottom in the respective columns. And then at the bottom, there's an arrow between each stage, and this is the key action tied to it. That's the action that tells Maro Audio that this contact is ready to move on to the next stage of the customer journey they're experiencing. So if you did the pre-work questions we sent along when you registered, those are the touch points and conversation points you can use to fill out your own customer experience map. If not, no worries. That's what the next week is for, and we'll look at this. So let's kind of dig into a bit more about how Maro Audio use this theory to do that. So to raise awareness about what they do for people who don't know them, we don't know them at all. They do online ads on Facebook, for example. They go to trade shows, but trade shows are really specific to the industry. So audio trade shows. They do workshops, and that's how they raise awareness. That's they're really the phase where they share the story, that they let people know that they exist, basically. So when people are interested, they will submit their information. They will either fill in, could from the online ads, click on the online ads on Facebook, go to the website, submit a form. Also at a trade show, on an iPad or whatever, they could fill in just the information to receive a brochure or something. So that's how they know, okay, there is an interest there. Let's bring them to the consideration stage. In the consideration stage, the idea is that we want them to go to product pages, look at the different cables they sell, look at a video, maybe a demo of how to plug your cables, and all the technology pages. Once there is some online engagement, we can track that they view the video. We can track the activity on the website. We know they're going to view this page. We know they're interested by this. That's a trigger that tells us, okay, those people are really interested. Let's move them to the decision stage. So now we want to give them some call to actions. We want them to buy. We want them to make their first purchase. They're so interested. So let's encourage them to buy. Let's leverage this. Let's give them a discount code. That's the best way you can do. We know you view that page. Let's send an automatic email with the discount code. Here's a 20% discount for you to buy your first cable. And that's it. That's all they needed. That's a little push they needed. They click on this call to action in the button in your email, and they buy their first cable. All right, that's the first time they become a client. The team in Maro Audio know they've become a client. So they're ready to move to the growth stage. So what's the growth stage? As Valeria was saying, we want to upsell and cross-sell to them. We want them to keep buying. We don't want them to stop buying our products. So we would maybe, based on what they bought, and for example, what Amazon does great, we will send them similar articles, send them product pages, the servicing page. Maybe they have all the cables and they just need a service on it, and so on. So based on that, we will encourage them to buy again. So once they are repeating customers, and that's the trigger we have here, they bought a second cable, or else they join a trader program. Okay, now they're a loyal customer. Let's get them to advocate. Let's get them to leave a review first, either on Amazon or Google, or an internal review on our website. We want, as word of mouth is very important, Valeria was saying, we want them to let other people know that they really like this company, they really like the cable, and so on. So we want to encourage them. Send maybe an automatic email after they made 3 purchases or 4 purchases, so that they leave a review and say what they liked about it. So that's for Maro Audio, and this is really the one I was saying at the beginning, that we're going to look at 3 companies, and a B2C, a B2B, and a nonprofit. So that was our B2C. This is really B2C focused, the end user. Yeah, now we're going to look at a nonprofit. So this is our second customer story. And this is the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, where headquarters are, the ActiveCampaign headquarters. So this museum is one of our customers. They use ActiveCampaign as well. And then, as you guessed, they're a museum all about science and data and math, and other things. But let's look at some points of their customer story, because even though they're a nonprofit, they have a customer story. They have a way of bringing contact from one stage to another to become an advocate. So they could do ads as well. Their museum, they could do ads on Facebook about an exhibition that's coming up. People can be walking in, coming for some information. That's the awareness as well. Or else they Google and they see a Google review, a TripAdvisor review, and that's really the awareness stage. They don't know about you, they get to know you. Then they provide the contact information to either receive more information about this new exhibition that's coming up, and that's when they move to the consideration stage. They submitted the information. Now let's give them more information about the museum. Let's give them information about the exhibition they're interested in. So we can link them to the event page, the exhibition page that's coming up with more details. We could also send them some free resources, free material about science at home, how they can replicate some of those things, how could they kind of take the knowledge or everything they would have in the science, in the museum, sorry, and how they could get a little bit of this and experience it at home. Just get them interested, get them engaged with you. Once we know they've done one of those things, they engage with us online, we know they're ready to buy. Maybe they're interested, they like what we do, they like they're like the new exhibition, they're pretty interested. So let's get them to buy a ticket for the exhibition. So we could send a very sales-focused email, and we know we're interested, buy a ticket here. We could send a discount as well, as we were talking about earlier. Push limited time exhibits. This exhibition, join us, don't miss your chance to see this exhibition. It will be ending in 6 weeks or something like that. Buy your ticket now, something like that. Once they buy the first tickets, all right, they bought a ticket to go to the museum. So they're they're a customer. So now we want them to keep coming to the museum, whilst we want them to go to another exhibition. We want them to, be loyal and enjoy the other things the museum has to offer. So what they could do is take a membership. Instead of coming just to one exhibition and get a ticket for that exhibition, they could get a membership for the entire year that would cover all the exhibition they want to go to. So then send an email, an automatic email promoting the membership after their first ticket, the first ticket they bought. We could redirect them to the donation FAQ page and form, so that they enjoy the museum. It's non-profit. Let's encourage them to donate. Maybe they don't even know it exists. So let's send an email, a text message, something. Hey, did you know you can donate if you enjoy the museum? Did you know you can donate and help us grow and help us keep providing this amazing content to you guys? And then when they bought the membership, or else here the trigger is they've been to the museum more than twice. So they really like the museum. We know they're a pretty loyal person. So let's bring them to the advocacy stage. Now we want them to bring a friend to the museum. We want them to spread the word about what they like about this museum. We want them to leave a review on Google and TripAdvisor, and we want them to donate. So as you're seeing here, this is as relevant to companies that B2B or B2C as it is to non-profits such as a museum. So now let's look at a B2B. I know we have B2B companies here today, and here we're gonna look at a software company. So Thinkific is the third active campaign customer we're going to look at. Thinkific, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a Canadian software company. It's a SaaS company. So they're a client of ActiveCampaign. So they use ActiveCampaign for all their marketing. But what's funny is that we are also a client of Thinkific. We use that Thinkific. It's a great tool. and it's really handy. So what they do is that their website and a course creation tool. So any course that you would want to give to people, or training, or some sort of recording, you could host them on that platform and then make them available for people to log in and so on. So yeah, we are a user of Thinkific, and we host our online learning in there. So if you one day you've got the chance to get one of those things, you'll go to Thinkific. So let's take a look at the kind of customer experience we're going through literally right now ourselves with Thinkific, and how they're very good at showing the value to prevent from churning. So again, awareness, online ads, trade shows, conferences. And what's very specific about this one, and I know Valeria talked about it, and Jill shared on the Slack about G2. G2 is it's a very popular kind of platform where you can learn about all the IT tools you have available and what are the best ones. You might have heard about Active Campaign there, but let's say one of you is looking for a course creation tool. You go on G2, you're looking for advices, you find Thinkific. Okay, you're in the awareness stage. You've never heard about them before. You go in there, you see they're the best, and you submit your information to get more information, to get a free trial. They offer trials. Get a free trial for 10 days or 14 days. So that's how you move into the consideration stage. So you get redirected to the trial creation, you get redirected to the pricing page, or else even to a customer story page. How other companies using Thinkific, how can you compare to them and apply to yourself? So, okay, you schedule a trial. Well, you get a trial. You're interested, you want to try it. Let's see how it goes. Okay, you sign up for a trial. So now you're more in the decision. You're going to study the tool and see how it works to decide whether you want to keep it and whether you want to pay for it. So you're in the decision stage. What do we want to do? So Thinkific knows they have someone who's on trial. They're going to send them sales-focused email. Let's send them emails about what they could do if they were buying it, what they can do with the app. We want to keep them engaged. We could also look at sending them messages in the app directly, sales messages, a pop-up, welcome, hope you enjoy your trial. And then also what we could do is route them to a specific sales rep. Okay, maybe it would be great that they get a human touch, someone who can talk to, who can actually tell them what they could leverage in the platform. Sometimes when you're new to a platform, even when you're doing a trial, and I'm sure you've seen that with Active Campaign, it's hard to know how you can make the best out of all those tools. There's so many tools, so many different things, sections you can use. So yeah, get a human, get someone to help you. Okay, you're convinced it's the best one. That's what you need. You buy your Thinkific subscription. Now we want to make sure you use it, you make the best of it. So that's where when you move to the growth stage. Maybe you get an onboarding, you get an online onboarding, same way as we do in Active Campaign. Maybe you've got a great onboarding with all of us in Active Campaign. Thinkific does that as well. Maybe you can get an account manager, someone who is really dedicated to you, personalized kind of support all the time with you to help in your strategy with Thinkific. So they offer this. Plus, you sign up to webinars like us today. You sign up to a webinar to just learn more about the tool, know how to use it. And we want to help you grow with the tool, make the best out of it, optimize your subscription, basically, make the best out of it. And then we know you like us, you give us great reviews, you give us great feedback on social media. We want you to advocate. We want you to leave us a review on G2. That's how maybe you heard about it back then. So we want you to go on G2 and tell about how you really like the customer experience, how the support was amazing, how you were able to transform your business with this tool. So this is the idea, is for you to share this experience, share this feedback. And this is the cycle Valeria was talking about. And that's how they prevent you from from churning and staying a loyal customer and staying part of it. So that's really, we've covered, that was the B2B client. So we've really covered 3 different type of businesses that I'm sure you can see yourself in them and get ideas from them of how they do things and apply this to yourself. So I hope this was helpful to go more in real cases. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a well-deserved break for 2 minutes to allow you to have a look at the activity that you will be applying to your business. So anything else, take this break, breathe, and we'll be back in a few.
Okay, and here we are for the Q&A session. So, Celia, let's see if we have any question right on the Slack channel. So please keep asking, keep posting all of your questions in the Slack channel, and make sure after the session to share workbook activities, any questions you might have in that channel as well. So I just want to remind you, the channel study all October CEST.
Yeah. Just see the question from Erwin here. Yes, we will be sharing the slides and the recording, yep. So not to worry.
Yeah, totally. So yes, Stephen had a question about troubleshooting issues with site tracking. We don't have a specific article on the troubleshooting steps, but definitely like we had the article that's gonna guide on how to set the site tracking up. And then if you have any specific issues as a technical issue, I mean, you can always get in touch with our support team, of course, and they will assist you right away. And I think that we can move on. All right. Yeah. So let's go to let's move on with our presentation, and let's speak about how to use segments to improve the customer experience. So this is definitely one of my favorite topics in ActiveCampaign. Remember, we were speaking before about the foundational principles that we have in ActiveCampaign, and one of those is personalized, no? The personalization. So treat every individual customer like it is like your most important one, regardless if you have 10 customers or 10 million customers. And this is exactly what segmentation allows you to do. So what is segmentation and what are segments? So as per slide, the segmentation is the act of grouping your contacts by attributes and or actions. So segments are your audiences. They are any group of people you want to send an email to, or whoever you want to put through an automated sequence of sorts. So the goal here is to send targeted messaging. The whole reason why you segment your contacts is to be able to talk to them about the very specific questions they're asking themselves about the products and the services you provide. So the more narrow you can get with your segmentation, the more targeted and pointed your messaging can be. And the more you can proactively put real tangible value in front of your contacts, and you can solidify their decision to choose you over any other person or company that does what you do. Great. So how to segment contacts? So we were saying that segments are groups based on attributes and actions. And let's talk a little bit about what you can use in ActiveCampaign to create those segments. So let's speak about attributes. Let's start with the attributes. Attributes content fields allow you to segment by a quality of feature about a content. And rest assured that we will be speaking in detail about the pieces of functionality that we use in ActiveCampaign to store the attributes and to store the action. Let me just say that most of the time, attributes are the core DNA of a person. So like when they were born. When we refer to attributes, we really refer to specific, very specific information to that individual. One example that applies will be something like a contract renewal date. So a contract renewal date, for instance, is a piece of information that is very specific, particular to each person or company you work with. So this might also be something like a purchase date. So if you're looking to send, for instance, a reminder email about different products or services you offer, well, then you might look at the attribute of the last purchase date. And we have beautiful automations that we will be covering next week in session 2 about this specific topic. Actions are the different behaviors or non-behaviors your contact are exhibiting, right? So for example, someone gives ActiveCampaign their email address for our CRM template lead magnet, and we want to note what that individual had an interest in. So we tag them with action downloaded CRM template. So for instance, this is a great example of a tag application. So that tells us this person has an interest in hearing more about how to manage and track their contact, which is only available for the Plus plan in ActiveCampaign and above. So you can imagine this as a whole trickle-down effect based on the plan type we have noted on their contact record. And this is going to influence, again, the messaging and the correspondence that we will be having with this specific contact. So to summarize, your audiences, right? The segments are your audiences that you're sending emails to, and they are comprised of all this sort of information. And well, why would you use it like a list versus tags? We will be speaking about this in a bit, but it really depends on how you choose to store the information on your contact record. So we will be speaking about this later on in detail, referring to the ActiveCampaign piece of functionalities. Anyway, in this slide, I like to give you like a summarized overview about design action-based content, right? To get a response, provide value, be a resource, stay curious and learn about your leads' interest, build a relationship, encourage action, and stay solution-focused versus consultative versus feature. And so as I said, don't worry, we will be speaking in detail with practical examples out of ActiveCampaign just in a few minutes from now. Before handing off to Leah, who's going to apply the segmentation to real business case scenarios, which are like the same she talked us through before. I'd like to speak to you about a perfect example of segmentation that is extremely relatable to your experience. So segment to reach your perfect audience. Well, here you see, right, two groups of people. So in the first graph, we have the digital study of registrants, which are all of you, and the registrants who attend the week 1 webinar, what exactly you are listening to me right now. Now, the intersection of these two groups generates a specific message, the message that you will be receiving after this session. And the title of the message is here's your next steps. In the other graph, we have two different groups. One, digital study registrants, same. So all of the registrants of the study hall, and the other one, the registrants who did not attend the week 1 webinar. So obviously the intersection of these two groups will generate a different kind of message. It will be very inappropriate, right, to send a message saying, here's your next steps. So we want to personalize the message by saying, sorry, we miss you, and send you over like different kind of instructions. So I think this is like a great example of what we mean with perfect segmentation, and something very practical and tangible that you can apply to your specific examples as well. And now I like you, Leah, to take over and well, walk us through some specific business cases, real examples.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. Okay. All right, let's go back with our customer stories that I'm sure you love already. So let's go with Mauro Audio. Hold on. Yes, just making sure you guys can hear me. I think you can all hear me. Okay, so
Yes, we
Mauro,
can.
thanks, Valeria. Okay, so Mauro Audio, let's have a look at how they segment and how they send specific emails to their segments. So the first, just as a maybe to just say this again, Mauro Audio is an e-commerce platform. It's our e-commerce client. Their objective is to track what customers are most interested to hear about them, and they want to try and upsell those customers. So they have 3 different types of emails they send. They have retargeting email, they have upsell email, and growth emails. So we look into industry in more depth. The retargeting email. So for example, they have all this group of people who have reached the pre-checkout page, and then they have this group of people who have reached the post-checkout page. So people have actually bought. But in between, the people who have went to the pre-checkout page but not reached the post-checkout page, well, let's send them an abandoned cart email with a coupon. We saw you've been to our page, we're interested to buy, but you didn't complete your purchase. Here is a coupon, a discount, just a 5% to 10% discount for you to finalize and finish your purchase. That's something you can do with ActiveCampaign. Just send abandoned cart emails to your customers, and that's what Mauro Audio does. Then we have an upsell email. So add your customer to an automation program sequence of emails, or add all customers to this automation who have purchased a lower tier keyboard cable within the last 6 months. So they've purchased, it was over 6 months ago now, they haven't made a purchase for half a year, so let's re-engage them. And so let's re-engage them and maybe push them to buy a higher end cable. They bought one of the cheapest one, but maybe let's tell them, hey, did you like this? Maybe you could buy another one, better quality even, and move them to upsell. And then we have the growth email. We might want them to subscribe to a trader program. So who are we going to target? What's going to be the point, the segment that we're going to target? So we're going to target all customers who have purchased over $5,000 or euros worth of cables, that have already participated in the trader program in the past, have purchased over 10 times, a very loyal, very engaged customer, and have shown some interest in the past to the subscription program. Maybe they view the page just to see info on it or FAQ on it. So let's encourage them to subscribe to it and to go one step further. So that's the type of segments that Mauro Audio really try and focus and see see which people they can retarget and upsell to. So now let's go back with a nonprofit, with the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. So what they do in ActiveCampaign, they use the scoring tool, and we will cover the scoring tool with our other sessions. This is an amazing tool to just give scores to your contact and see who is most interested. So the way the Museum of Science and Industry does, they want to see who is interested by what type of events, and also who is more likely to become a donor. They're a nonprofit. So the first one, the value email. They send a science at home activity for kids to contacts who have attended a kids event or kids related event recently and checked yes that they have kids. Okay, let's send this activity to them to be able to do this at home. Let's give them value. Let's feel them that we can do something for them. So we want this to be really specific, really targeted. There is no point sending this to people who maybe haven't attended a kids event but don't have kids, people who are not really interested. So we really want to target this to people who have kids. Then the other way we can send an email to a really specific segment group for the Museum of Science and Industry is with a cross-selling email. So there is this after this After Dark events that they organize. So it's more an adult event, whereas the first one was kids. So they won't target this event to people who are over 21 years old, who have maybe previously attended an After Dark event. So we know they're pretty interested. And they have attended an event at the museum in the past year. So they're more recent person. They're familiar with it. They've done that in the past. They're an adult. They're the right audience, and they've been engaged recently. So it's a really specific segment. It's a mix of those three groups, and we want the ones in the middle, the ones who match all those specific features. Then the third one was very actual with all the COVID. So request email. They want to get donation towards COVID. So who are they going to ask for this donation? They're not going to ask everybody. They want to ask the right people. So maybe all contacts who have donated for at least a year. People who have donated for over €1,000 to the museum, have attended an exhibition in the past year. So that's our third one. And maybe we could even segment further in the platform, and the donor management is me. So it's me working on this project. There's other donor managers, but I want to target all those people that I'm the owner of this contact. So we're able to do that, and we will be looking at this in the demo later on that I'll be doing. We're going to be able to go into searching and segmenting, and then once we're able to segment with all those conditions that are very specific, let's see what we get, and then let's send an email to this segment. And then the third one, Thinkific. So here we have three types of emails. So Thinkific is our B2B. I see a lot of people love Thinkific today in the session, so I'm a fan as well. So what they do, they send emails as well that are really specific, and that's why we love them, because they send us the right email at the right time. So the product adoption email, you just join, it's part of the onboarding I was mentioning earlier. So they're gonna send an email to enable us to manage all the options we have and our capabilities in the platform. So they're gonna send this email to all the contacts who have not created a course yet and purchased exactly over 30 days ago. So they're probably new. And we wanna make sure they're using the tool after a month. Then testimonial emails. So send customer story request. The people who love them, they want them to share the story, so that the same way I'm sharing Thinkific story, we want other customers who love them to share the story just to gain engagement. But they want to request customer story to the right people as well, not to everybody. So they're focusing on this new industry, the fitness industry. So they want to focus customer stories to gym owners. Okay, with the COVID, it's been very popular for gyms who had to close to put all their courses online. They use Thinkific to host, their classes and all their training online. So it's been a big increase for Thinkific, and I want to keep promoting that to other in the fitness industry, to other gym owners. So they're going to take all the current gym owners, clients they have, who have spent X amount at least in a year and are leveraging at least 3 integrations. What does that mean? They're integrating tools. As Valeria was talking about it earlier, we like when our clients just integrate different tools and have a stack of options. If they do that, that means they're using the platform very efficiently and they're using it a lot. So all those people are using the platform, and that's what we want to share the customer story. So we're going to focus in the middle. The gym owners are spending X amount and have at least 3 integrations. And then the third one, this is less of a marketing email, but it's still very interesting, and it's still something you can do in ActiveCampaign. It's an internal email, a notification. We want to send an alert, a notification email to a support rep of churn risk. So we want to send this email to contacts who haven't logged in for 30 days post-sale, don't have any active courses. Support rep is Valeria, for example, and the customer zone is UK. So that's all the ones you're managing. So you can send both an email to the client, hey, we've seen you haven't logged in, are you still enjoying features? Make sure to check this out, but also send a notification email to yourself, so that maybe give them a call, schedule something with them. And yeah, just segment really to this. So that's how those 3 companies use the segment and put their strategy around segmenting this way to send specific emails to those groups of contacts. We're going to have another break, and we just so that you can have a look at your workbook again, take a little break, and then we'll be back with a Q&A. So any questions, please ask them. We'll be back with a Q&A and answer your question afterwards.
Perfect. So the break is over and it's time for our Q&A session. So let's have a look to the questions that we got in the channel. Right, so I see the first one from Crown. Is there a best practice way to automatically synchronize contact leads from the Microsoft Dynamics CRM to Active Campaign? Great question. So, well, in terms of best practice, we don't have a native integration, but you can use Zapier to integrate Active Campaign with Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So Zapier, in case you don't know what it is a great platform that allows you to connect pretty much anything out there. Active Campaign can be integrated with 90% of the integrations of the other platforms through Zapier. So it's going to act like a bridge, super easy to use. There is like obviously an extra cost, but it's pretty affordable. So definitely I would suggest you have a look at that if you haven't done yet. Great question. Thank you so much. Leah, do you want to move to the next one?
Yeah, I see another one, and I love this question from Joss. Sorry if I'm saying your name here. Is there a best practice to remove not active contacts from Active Campaign? I love this question because it's so important. Yes, you need to remove inactive contacts and stop emailing them, just to stop bothering them and stop having them in there. So there's a few ways you can do this. We have obviously a cleanup tool that you can look into to remove all inactive contacts, but we also have an engagement tagging automation. And I love this automation. That's I think one of the most important automation to set up in your account when you start. This automation is basically will work on putting tags automatically on your contacts based on the engagement. So after a while, you'll see all contacts who have the inactive tag. You'll see them. They have a tag because of this in automation running in the back end. And then you can just easily unsubscribe all the contacts who have an inactive tag. So yeah, great question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, really. Okay, so let's move to the next one. From Mike, will there be training on how to set everything up in the system? I haven't started using Active Campaign, so I want to make sure that it's set up correctly so I will be able to use the segmentation feature. In the past, I had far too many lists and I got really confused. What to make sure I avoid the mistakes this time. Absolutely, Elke. This is a great and a very, very relevant question. So we will be speaking specifically right now through the QA about the features that you can use in Active Campaign and the best practices that you can adopt in terms of segmentation. So definitely we will be speaking in detail about that. There will be a demo, and next week in the second session, again, there will be another demo on how to segment contacts. So we will be speaking about segmentation today and the next week as well. So lots of information in terms of segmentation, best practices, and then you're always more than welcome to book a one-to-one call in case you want to see your specific use case, business case, and what are the best practices in terms of segmenting in your specific case. Yeah. Do you want to thank the next one?
Yeah, I see a question from Erin here about segmentation. So do you have a list of all successful segmentation practices? Sometimes it is obvious, such as haven't bought, started trial, and so on. That's obvious segmentation, but it is the less obvious segmentation that will be most interesting. Yeah, obviously there's all the segmentation. Yeah. I think it's really specific to your own business case. That's why it's really important to put them on paper.
Yeah.
There's no best practice because it's so specific, but you could look at and what Active Campaign will allow you to do. I want to segment this to people who have bought, who have started trial, and have opened my email in my last email and have clicked on this email and have viewed that page. You know, you go even further in the segmentation. That's anything you have to add on that area?
Absolutely no. I think like you gave a very comprehensive answer, so couldn't agree more. In terms like of successful segmenting practices, the ones that we will be covering like a few minutes from now will be definitely the most precious one. And then obviously what I want always to stress out is that we don't have like rules, right? Fixed rules in terms of how to use ActiveCampaign, right? Want to be very flexible. So we give best practices, but like make sure always to think about your specific case, because things can be different business to business. But definitely, like, we will be covering that in detail. Absolutely. Okay. Well, Lee, I think that's
it.
We're done. That's it. Okay, perfect. So, well, we can move on now. So to the topic that is so highly requested, and the one that you all were waiting for. So contact management, right? So we will be speaking about how to segment contacts, and we will be talking about the tools that you can use in ActiveCampaign to segment your contacts and what are the best practices. So we will essentially address the question that you had for us during the Q&A. Like, this is definitely the hottest topic in ActiveCampaign, but before diving into that, I'd like to know, which topic do you struggle the most with? Which topic do you struggle the most with? So like here, I'm going to send over a poll, okay? And I like to know, like, the topic that you struggle the most, which is, well, tracking the outlets my contacts are coming from, knowing how to start and then workflows, or organizing, integrate important customer information, or finally sending the right message for the right audience. So I like to get an idea, you know, also to obviously get feedback from you, and definitely like give a different flavor to the presentation. So I'm seeing high activity in terms of the answer much. So seems the one that you struggle most is organizing, integrating important customer information. Completely get it. Makes totally sense. Sending the right message for the right audience. Makes sense, absolutely. And then, well, seems the same percentage, tracking the outlets my contacts are coming from, knowing how to start, and then the workflows. Fantastic. So definitely, this part will be very, very useful for you, because we will be touch base exactly these points. So thank you for replying to that. Great. So let's dive in. And let's talk about the contacts in ActiveCampaign. Finally, let's talk about the tools that you can use to segment contacts. So first most, what are contacts in ActiveCampaign? A contact is defined by a unique email address. If you have one unique email address in ActiveCampaign, you have one contact. Easy. That's it. Nothing more. Nice and simple. One email address is one contact. You can merge contacts if you have, like, for instance, two different email addresses for the same person. This is a kind of different story. You can do that, but for the moment, just keep in mind that a contact is defined by a unique email address. So this is a big thing to keep in mind, right? Because we want to familiarize with the ActiveCampaign terminology and know exactly what are the vital elements of the ActiveCampaign platform. Now, let's start to speak about segmentation and how to group contacts. Organize your contacts list. Lists are the primary way to broadly group contacts. So list is going to be the very first form of segmentation that you have available in ActiveCampaign. Now, to go back to the question that we got during the Q&A, and this is, like, I tell you, one of the questions that I'm getting pretty much in every call, in every training call, and that's a great question. What are the best practices in terms of list? Now, the best practice that we advise to adopt is to pare down the number of lists. So keep, like, few lists and leverage tags and fields for segmentation. Typically, we recommend to create a primary master list. So that's going to be like a huge container that includes all the contacts in your ActiveCampaign platform, and leverage tags and fields to segment other kind of information. So you keep just one big list. You might want to keep, like, a few other lists, and then you use tags and fields with no limit in terms of the number to segment, to group information. In the slide, obviously, we inserted some use cases for leverage multiple lists, because as I said before, we don't have like a fixed role that is a blanket cover, right, for everyone and for everything now. Not at all. So obviously, we want to be flexible and we want to tailor, right, the functionality to your specific use case. And I'm stressing this because every case is different, obviously, and we want to make sure to accommodate all the needs. So as common cases for leverage multiple lists, we inserted like the message frequency. You might need to get in touch with different groups of the contacts on different frequencies, right? So you might want to get in contact with your contacts once per week, and then with some other contacts once per month, and with some other contacts once per day. So in that case, you might want to use 3 different lists, depending on the message frequency. You might be in the situation where you are supporting various languages, and you want to make sure to group contacts depending on the language, and so associate a list per language to each group of contacts. So one list for French, one list for Spanish, one list for English, one list for Italian. Absolutely. 2 different companies communicating from one account. That's a very common case scenario. I handle lots of calls with customers facing this kind of scenario. So they use Inactive Campaign, they use the same platform, but they're dealing with different organizations within the platform. And they want to have, right, a number of lists. So a list for each company, each organization they need to be in contact with. So they need to like sending campaigns per list, and they want this kind of organization. So bottom line, we have a best practice. That's like the one that we recommend to use. At the same time, there could be exception, obviously. So definitely what I encourage you to do, share your questions, obviously, share your use case with us, and make sure also to book a training session with the enablement team to discuss your specific case. I'm part of the team, and we're more than happy like, to see your case in details and then see what could be like the best segmentation. But start to think with the kind of mentality and start to apply the best practice and the suggestion that we're giving. Great. So after Lista, well, we can organize contacts with tags. So let's speak about tags and fields. Tags are one of the most fluid and usable piece of functionality of the campaign. So you can store with tags data information that can quickly change over time. So a classic use case, for instance, after I open an email, you want to add a tag to me as a contact because I'm engaged, right? So status tags, for instance, engage versus disengage, which is on the slide as well. So if I open the email as a contact, well, obviously I'm showing a sign of interest in your business, and you want to apply a tag to me as a engage, but this is a kind of information that can change over time, because after 2 or 3 months, maybe I'm not opening any other of your emails, and then you can take off this tag, which is like a badge, a label that you apply to the contact record, and you can change the tag engage with the tag disengage. So tags are very useful, and they are a popular tool to track the status of the content, and this has very important consequences in terms of deliverability. So deliverability is really like the ability to get your contacts inbox, right? And if you keep sending emails to people who are disengaged, they're not opening your emails, well, those people are hurting the ability of actually reach the inboxes, right, of people that are more likely to open your messages. So tags play a very important role in this kind of scenario. You can track specific information as actions, right? Click purchasing a home, for instance. So if you're like an estate agency, you want to make sure to track those contacts that purchase a home, that click the link, and distinguish them from those who are just maybe navigating around on your website and taking a look, right? So you can get a very quick snapshot of your contact activity. sorts, Facebook knitting courses. So you can track where your contacts are coming from. You can apply a tag to that. So let's say that you're investing the money on your Facebook channel, on your LinkedIn channel. Well, through the application of tags to identify the source, and this can be easily done through integration, you can obviously decide what's the best strategy, and you can take like a very important decision on the amount of money that you want to invest in the channel. So if the majority of your tags will be in Facebook, well, maybe you want to invest less on LinkedIn if you're using both. And interest in Doug Foster in the Windcerted. So inserting a tag, applying a tag to denote the interest that your contacts have is a very nice and important way to segment contacts and influence the message. So if I have a website for dog adoption, right, and someone is interested in adopting a dog but there's no availability, I apply a tag, maybe dog fostering, and then in a couple of months when the availability will be there again, I can get in touch with those people, with those contacts by identifying the tag, creating a segment and sending a target message, a target campaign to these specific people. So having spoken about tags, I like to move on and speak about fields, right? So fields, what are fields? Now, fields would really store information that is more permanent, information that is more permanent. So fields store information data that is unique to each contact. You can get standard fields in a campaign and custom contact fields. So the standard fields are the name, email address, phone number, and company name. And with the custom contact fields, well, this is really up to you. Like, we inserted some examples, but you can create all the custom fields that you want, depending on the specific kind of attributes of information. As I said, more unique to each contact, more permanent, so less dynamic than the ones that you want to store with tags. However, one of the main differences between tags and fields is the fact that tags are not customer facing. They are internal, they're not external. So they're not visible to contacts. Whereas fields are customer facing. They are visible to your contacts because you can create fields, custom contact fields, and store, right? And those fields, so insert those fields in your active campaign forms. When you build a form, you will see on your right, the session where you can, the panel where you can customize the form, and you will see a list of all the fields that you built in your active campaign. You can just drag and drop the fields and insert the fields in your form. So fields are a great way to increase the knowledge about your contacts, always in the perspective with the philosophy in mind of personalize your message and getting as much personal as possible. Through fields, you can gather information about your contacts, and this has consequences in terms of the workflow that you can build, in terms of obviously the funnel and so on. Great. So to wrap up, segmenting an active campaign happens to three main ways. List, so remember the broadest contact grouping, best practice, pare down the number of lists, fewer lists. Tags, badges, label that you apply to your contacts, so flexible, fluid piece of functionality. Main example for usage to denote status, interest, and so on. You can use tag to organize your contacts and to start automations. Tags are a great way to start automation. In your automation builder, you will find the trigger tag is added, which is a great way to let contact enter in your workflow. Fields and custom fields, they include information that is more unique, permanent to your contacts. So information like name, phone, organization, and so on. And you want to create custom fields for information you need from your contacts, and you want to share in communication. So you can also use fields in ActiveCampaign forms to collect more information. And I hope that through this overview, you get like a very good idea about the piece of functionalities that we offer in ActiveCampaign. And I'm passing now to Leah for a content management demo. Thanks,
yeah.
Leah.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do a little demo. Let's go into the account. Thanks for a good intro on this, Valeria. Let me share my screen here where I can show you the inside of the account. Where are we at? There we go. Can you all see my screen and inside the account?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so let's have a look at our segmenting. If we go in, so that's your home page, your landing page. Let's have a look in contacts. So we're gonna have a look at the advanced search and all the conditions and the options you have to segment and to create segments. So here, this is my page with all my contacts and all the info I have on my contacts. If I go here and I hit the search bar, there is a very well hidden button here called Advanced Search. Very well hidden, but it's very useful and something you are going to be using it a lot. So save this one. So when you hit Advanced Search, there's this entire new world opening to you. So here you have all the conditions that you have that you can segment your contacts with. So we've got a lot of questions about how can I segment more than the obvious general one. Here we go. That's where you can segment. So let's do a first one. I know I have a customer in here on a list I want to replace with a tag rather than a list. And a lot of people here have been telling us, oh, I have 100 lists. I want to delete those lists. I just want to put everybody in a master contact list and then use tags. So let's do this. Let's look. I want to look at people who are in a list. So I can either have a look and go definitely directly in here. So I want to look at someone whose first name in this is subscribed on this date, or else I want to look at people based on my custom field. Where the state, what is the NPS score, when did they attend the digital study halls? So we could be doing this. These actions here is a really good one. I want to see people who are on a list, and that's the one we'll be using just now, or else I want to look at all the people who have opened this email. I've clicked on a link in this email, have submitted a form. So I want to look at all the people who came in via my contact us form on my website, for example. I want to look at all the people who have entered an automation, and so on. There's so much you can do. I want to look at the people who are in my Facebook customer audience. So that's that's in the actions folder. Then geography we will talk about. I want to see all the people who are in France, in the UK. E-commerce. So if you are integrating with an e-commerce platform such as Shopify, WooCommerce, or even doing a deep data integration with your API, with the API, you have access to all the e-commerce options here, which are going to give you so much flexibility. You want to look at all the people who made an order on that day, Black Friday maybe. You want to look at all the people who've made an order, who've ordered this product, or else just more global. I want to see all the people who made a purchase, any purchase, or all the people who made an abandoned cart. That's all the options you get here. And then if we go into more details, if you have site tracking setup, and Valeria has talked about site tracking, I want to have a look at people who visited this page, a specific page, and so on. So here, let's go back into, I want to see people who are in a list. I want to see all people who are in my Atlanta Study Hall list. Let's run my search. So I run my search, it's running in the backend. Well, I have no contact, but let's pretend, let's do another one then. I want to see all the people on my master list. I have 49 contacts here, you can see. Okay, that's a list that really interests me. I want to save that list for future reference. So you can here save as a segment, and this segment is what you're going to be able to reuse when you're going to be sending campaigns. So you save this segment, people on this list who have this tag and have opened this email, save as a segment. Once you save it as a segment, you give it a name, and then you'll be able to find them inside. So advanced search master list, you save it, and you'll be able to find it in your campaigns when you want to send an email. But here, let's say we want to save as a search. So to save as a search, my new search master contact list, digital study hall, here, that's a CMEA. Let's save this. So once this is saved as a search, let's go back and see how you can find it. So let's go back to my contacts page, a clear one. Let's say it's a new day, I come back here and I've saved that search the day before, I want to find it again. I go to my contacts page, I go here, and here you see this advanced search button. That's the one we clicked on that we wanted to see. And then there's a save search. If I click on here, I have all the searches that I have saved. So here's this one, my new search, the one I just created. If I click here directly, it's going to change to my 49 contacts, and it will always be up to date with the most relevant contacts that I'm matching today, this segment I've established. So it will update, it will be reactive all the time. So that's really the difference between saving as a segment, send email, and sending as a search. Now, let's say I want to bulk edit. I want to edit all of those 49 contacts. I want to unsubscribe them from my master contact list or from my Atlanta study hall list. And I want to add a tag that will be digital studio. And then do this and apply. And once you do that, this will automatically add this tag to all those people and unsubscribe them from the list. So that's how you can bulk edit contacts. Now, let's have a look into a contact in particular. Let's look into Grace Finch. Okay, now we're in our contacts profile. So here we can have all information about her name, her email address, her company, all her activity, and also here, most importantly, what list is she subscribed to? We just unsubscribed her from the studio list. She subscribed to master list, to customers list, and these are all the tag. She's got an Atlanta study hall tag. She's engaged. She's got a recent activity, so that gives us all information that will help us segment. That's really the way you can use this contacts profile. All the activities here are really helpful as well, so that you get information about what automation, how they subscribe at the beginning, and so on. So I hope it helps, and I'm sure it was great to see a bit of the account. So let me go back to my presentation now. So that's for the demo. Now we'll be doing a very quick Q&A because it's almost the end. I don't know if there is any questions we need to answer before we wrap.
Let's have a look. So Gilda did a great job, but I'd like to address the question that Paul has. So Paul, after a period of 10 contacts, may have many tags, some created through automations and others added manually. In some instances, a user may have added a tag that is already there, but with a slightly different spelling, etc. Do you have any advice on managing, reviewing, and cleaning up tags? Absolutely. We do have even a nice article. I think that Gilda is promptly sharing the results. But generally speaking, what I would suggest you to do is to go to the Manage Tag Overview tab. You can access to it from the contacts section, and you can see a list of all the tags available in there, so you can easily clean up your tags and modify the tags from there. It's like a dashboard available from the contacts session. So great question. Thanks for asking. This is an important one, especially given the fact that tags are so important for segmenting contacts. So, well,
Yeah.
we have 3 more.
Yeah.
When you create a new campaign, you can select a list that you want to send a campaign. Having only one list, how you can send a campaign based on a tag or a custom field? Great question. So we will be showing this actually in the next session next week in session 2. You can create segments in the way that Leah showed, save the segment and grab the segment when sending your campaign. So the whole point of segmenting is to create segments, and we'll be sharing with you in a bit an article that is going to guide you on how to create, save the segment and send the campaign to the segment.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you want to move ahead?
About, is there any videos we recommend watching before next sessions? Because there is a lot of information today, and they want to make sure to have a way to revise things before next week. So again, you get a recording. And also, we have so much content on our Learning Education Resource Center. You can find short videos, like 2 minutes on specific topics. You can read articles. We also have accelerated onboarding. There's all the type of training you can have a look. And you can look. Anything else? Yeah.
I would say, Leah, no, mainly also articles about automations, because that will be the main topic of next week's session. So definitely anything related to automation, Elke will do the job, because we will be heavily relying on the automation feature. We will go through automation recipes. So definitely focus on that. Let's quickly go through the last 2, right? Erwin, is it possible to register web behavior without the standard web tracking script? It's very heavy and is bad from SEO perspective, or is it possible to reduce the size of the website tracking script? So, great question. Well, the thing is that site tracking really works with the script, to be 100% honest with you. So I'm not quite sure, like, if you're referring to many websites, so while listed all together, or many pages. If you can give us like more details, Erwin, about this, like we can definitely address it more specifically, right, Leah? Because so far, website to be implemented requires the script installed. Yeah, but definitely let us know, give us more details, and we will for sure look into this. And then the final one, when a segment from Jake, when a segment is made, does it automatically update if new contacts meet the condition, or is it on a snapshot at the time the segment is made? Yep, the answer is absolutely so. So the great news is that you build a segment and contacts that match condition will automatically populate the segment.
It's live. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah. Let's
time to. Yeah.
So our coming attractions. That's really a snapshot of what we will be looking at during our next session. So as Valeria was saying, we'll be looking at automations. So in the next session, you'll learn everything about how to build your first automation from scratch. We'll do a bit of recap as well on segments. We'll look at campaigns and how you can reuse those segments we created today to send your campaigns. And we look at how you can use automation for your customer experience automation. Okay, so make sure to have a look in your workbook and complete the activities that we've provided. So yeah, that's probably a good thing to do, not to worry too much about next week, but just build on what you've learned today and apply this to your own business. Put everything on paper, put this for yourself.
Absolutely.
So next steps is just there's customer journey segments and contact management homework. That's the thing you can do. You can watch a segmentation course on our education center I was referring to earlier. We can maybe send a link to that in the Slack group. Yeah. Start creating your own contact management strategy in your account. That's the best thing to do.
Absolutely.
So again, we will be sharing a recording of the session from today. And see you next week. Yeah, see you next week.
And thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being a very interactive audience. Thanks for all your questions. Thanks a million for your time.
I hope it was useful, and talk to you next week. Bye, guys.